Alright, hey, this video is going to cover chapter 8.2, and this is where we learn one of the theorems of proving triangles similar. Okay. So remember that similar is not the same as congruent. Okay, similar means that the triangles have the same shape, not necessarily the same size. Okay, so same shape, but different size. Okay. And one of the methods that we learn in this chapter for how to show that two triangles are congruent is called the angle-angle theorem. Okay, so what you need to have is two pairs of congruent angles. Okay, if you can find two pairs of congruent angles, that is enough information to claim that the triangles are congruent. Okay. So let's look at question number 1 here. We've got a pair of triangles, and let's see if we can find two pairs of congruent angles. Okay. So right off the bat, I see that angles A and E are both right angles, so those are going to be congruent. Angle A is congruent to angle E, so I've got one pair of congruent angles. Let's see if we can find a second pair. Okay. So let's see if we can find the measure of angle F right here. Okay. So we know that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. So let's just call this x for now. So x plus 75 plus 90 is going to equal 180. Okay, so that's x plus 165 equals 180. All right, if we subtract 165 from both sides, we end up with 15. Okay, so that angle there is 15 degrees. Okay. And then we can then compare that and see that, oh, in the first triangle there's also a 15-degree angle, right? So angle F and angle B have the same measure, so that's a second pair of congruent angles. Okay. Angle B is congruent to angle F. Okay. And once we have the two pairs of congruent angles, that is enough to say that these two triangles are indeed similar. Now another thing that we want to do is we want to write a similarity statement. In other words, we want to name the two triangles and write that they are similar using symbols. Okay. So let's take that first triangle and let's redraw it, right, so that it's standing up like the second one. Okay, so this is the right angle A. This is the angle next to it, which is C, and then B is up there. So we could name this first triangle, let's call it triangle ABC. And the symbol for similarity is just a squiggle. Okay. And then the second triangle we want to name kind of in the same way. Okay. So angle A and E are corresponding. Angles C and D are corresponding. Angles B and F are corresponding. Okay. So let's see, A, so then the corresponding letter would be E. B is green, so F is green. C is blue, and D is blue. So the second triangle would be named EFD. Right, let's look at problem 2. Same kind of question. Okay, so again, right off the bat, we see that we have one pair of congruent angles. So we'll say angle F is congruent to angle C. Now, can we find a second pair? Okay. All right. So let's see if we can calculate angle E. Okay. So for now, let's just call that angle X, and we know that these three angles have to add up to 180. Okay. So 44 plus 30 plus X equals 180. Let me move this out of the way. Let's put it down here. Okay, so this is going to be 74 plus X equals 180. Okay, so if we subtract 74 from both sides, we get 106. Okay, so angle E is 106 degrees. Okay. And we can see that's not a match to angle B, right? Those two angles are not the same number of degrees. Okay. All right, let's figure out the measure of angle A. Okay, so I'm going to call that Y, since I already used X earlier. Okay. So I know the three angles in the second triangle have to add up to 180 as well, so we can write Y plus 116 plus 30 equals 180. So Y plus 146 equals 180. We can subtract 146 from both sides, and we would get 34. Okay. So angle A has a measure of 34 degrees. Okay, and that is not congruent to any of the angles in the first triangle. Okay, so for these two triangles, we only have one pair of congruent angles, so they're not similar in shape. Okay, so we'll just write not similar. Okay. Right, so just to recap, to prove that two triangles are similar, you need two pairs of congruent angles. We had that in the first problem. We did not have that in the second problem.